Once again, we're staying in our 00-groundfloorplan.dwg. And again, we're in the Model tab, zoomed to the extent of the floor plan in the drawing. Now, we're going to take a look now at how we navigate using our mouse and our mouse settings. Now, these are really important settings in AutoCAD, our mouse settings especially. Now, I've obviously shown you already how to zoom and pan using the mouse. So you move the crosshair around, you pick a point in the drawing, and you don't click on it, you just position the crosshair, roll up on the wheel of the mouse and you zoom in, roll back on the wheel of the mouse and you zoom out. Hold down the wheel of the mouse like so and move the mouse and you can see you pan, release the wheel, and then you come out of that pan mode. Again, like I mentioned though, you can right click and use pan and zoom there. And if I hit escape to lose the shortcut menu, you can also zoom and pan here using the navigation bar. Now, those mouse settings are set normally by default. I very, very rarely change my mouse settings. So normally, if I'm not doing anything and I right click, it brings up the shortcut menu. Now, there are other bits of functionality. I'll just hit escape to lose that menu there. There are other bits of functionality though for the mouse. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to zoom in on that central grid square near the stairs. Now, I'm just going to make sure I'm on the 0 layer, up at the top of the list there. There you go, 0 layer. And I'm going to go to the line command on the draw panel on the home tab on the ribbon. Now, obviously, I've got dynamic input on, so I get a prompt for the first point of that particular line. So if I click and I drag the mouse, can you see the mouse is forming a fundamental freehand methodology of moving there. Now I can type in distances, angles, coordinates, etc. But if I just move the mouse, can you see it's allowing me to specify the direction and the angle of the line? So if I drag, say, there and left click, the mouse is now acting as a human interface device for me to click. If I come down here, left click again, another line segment. If I come down here, left click again, another line segment. Now here's the important bit. I can right click, and on the shortcut menu it's now context sensitive because I'm in the line command. I can undo a line segment. So if I click on that, it takes me back one line segment. Place that line segment again by left clicking. As you can see, I can then right click and I can close out to the first point of the group of line segments. So if I click on close, it closes out to where I started from. So you can see there that that right click and enter is really important. Now, sometimes just pressing enter on the keyboard can be your preferred method of doing that line. Let's do another line. I'll do the same thing again. Click, 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 click. Now, I don't need to right click now. If I right click and close, it will take me back to the start point. But if I just press enter on the keyboard, can you see there? It just closes out the line command and finishes the line command for me. It doesn't close out to the beginning point. So it does depend on what you're trying to get from that line command. You can either right click and close, or you can just press enter and it finishes the line command without closing like it's done there. Now, I can set my mouse settings in my options to combine the two. So if, without anything running or selected, just right click and go to options. Now, you'll notice in the user preferences tab, there is right click customization. So this is our Windows, as in Microsoft Windows standard behavior. I've got double click editing on. So if I double click on an object, I can edit it. My shortcut menus are in the drawing area. So they come on when I right click. Let's go to that right click customization. Now, I never change default mode, edit mode, or command mode. I leave them as they are. So you can leave those as they are. It's this one at the top. Turn on the time sensitive right click. A quick click will basically replicate the enter key on the keyboard. A longer click will display the shortcut menu. Let's switch that on. Just tick the box. Leave it set to the 250 milliseconds, the default. Apply and close, and then OK that. Now, this is where it gets interesting. What I am going to do, I'm just going to select each of these lines that I've drawn. Just click on each one like that. Now, here's the bit that's interesting. If I now just quickly right click, can you see there? It brings up the shortcut menu because I've got objects selected. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to click on erase. I'm going to do the same here. 1 and 2 and 3. Quick right click and erase. Now this is where it gets interesting. Let's go back to that line command. I'm going to click there, pick a point, click again, click again, click again. Quick click on the right hand mouse button. It's like I press the enter key. The shortcut menu hasn't appeared because I've set that delay in the settings in my options. Let's do that again. Line command. So it's click, draw the line, click, draw the line, click, draw the line, click. Now, if I right click and hold, there's the context sensitive shortcut menu. I can click on close. So I'm kind of combining the two settings by setting that little time delay of 250 milliseconds. So if I hold the right click mouse button down, it brings up the shortcut menu. If I do a quick click on the right hand mouse button though, it replicates the enter key on the keyboard. Make sure if you don't want that setting, you right click. As you can see, right click, it's repeating the last command. Hit escape there. I want to right click and hold and then go down to the options. I then go into right click customization and turn that option off if you don't want to use it. I don't use it. I don't turn it on. I rarely use it, but it's a really useful tool if you want to combine enter and the shortcut menu. So I'll apply and close, click on OK, and those settings are back to where they were when we started the video.